Welcome back, YouTube. Well, it's already happened. It didn't take long. This is actually probably the first thing you want to do when you get your Chinese digger home is to actually go over it, take it apart slightly, and make sure all the bolts are tight and there. I've found a few missing nuts and bolts and a few loose ones here and there. Overall, it hasn't been too bad. I did have this open, the valve bank and everything. I don't know if you guys could see in there, but I went over everything with a bit of fluid film, and in there I covered everything with lithium grease. The Chinese steel, of course, as most of you know, is not the best, and the paint jobs on these things is something left to be desired. So I thought if I at least, give it some kind of undercoating, at least it'll help it last and not flake out on the inside anyways. Beyond that, I'm, as you can see, I have my gas tank up. What happened was the fitting here was leaking. It wasn't tight. Briggs & Stratton, American quality there. Worst problem I had so far, American product on the Chinese digger. Kind of funny. I'm sure it came out of China, though. It all comes out of China these days. But yeah, anyways, other than that, just test all your bolts. I haven't actually, there's some down here, these big suckers. I don't have, they're pretty big. I don't have an Allen key that big with me here. I'm going to have to grab one from work. But it's also good just to have a good look around, make sure nothing's leaking or anything. For me, nothing was leaking, so I made it look like everything's leaking with fluid film on everything. But again, like I said, I don't want stuff to get all rusty and stuff. It's already starting to rust slightly, so a little bit of treatment now will go a long way in the long run. Also, the seat on this, you can see one of the brackets here, they were actually quite rusty. I had to take sandpaper and sand these posts off because they were rusted really bad. And also under the breather, there's a metal plate under here that was rusted bad. I sanded that off and cleaned it, oiled it. I've also, going over stuff like this, just take some oil, any oil, 3-in-1 oil, and just rub it into the metal. It helps. It's not going to last forever, but if you do that frequently, it will last a lot longer. Another thing, they never did paint this. I guess this was an afterthought or something. Regardless, I do want to, I'm going to just take everything out of the way here and clean it up, and I'll paint that before I finish putting everything back together completely as well. The other thing with the top back here is when it flips up, it doesn't flip up all the way, which makes it a real pain in the ass to fill it up full of fuel and get to the choke, which you have to reach under, which I'm also going to change. That's a different story. But what I'm going to have to do is actually cut 2 slits in there and there, and then the seat will be able to flip back all the way, and it won't be so ridiculous trying to put fuel in or get underneath of this thing. Other than that, I repainted the seat bracket that was there. I painted here with some bumper paint. I found this at the dollar store, but it is plastic coat, so it's good stuff. So I just shook it up real good. Actually, it left a really nice finish, I think. It's kind of a light semi-gloss, still kind of dull, but not too much. And I did a couple coats on that now, so I got to run. That sucks. Doesn't really matter though. You don't even see this thing. It's more, the paint is just there for protection, so I don't really care if it doesn't look so good. But yeah, I painted that. In time, I may also paint some other parts. I was really thinking I may paint this floor pan because it's going to take a lot of abuse, and if it's going to take a lot of beer, yes please. But it's going to take a lot of abuse, so it'd be nice to clean that up and make that stronger paint to last and make it more durable. But we'll see about that, because I also have a plan. This little mat here, this is the floor cover. It's kind of a joke. It's like jacket material. It's already starting to go to hell. And underneath here, the one of the bolts wore right into it. So I'm going to take this thick rubber matting I have here, My stuff's pretty heavy duty. It's like it's from a gym floor or something. Anyways, I'll cut out a section, just trace that out onto one of these, cut it out, and then I'll have a rubber mat that's a lot more durable and should last me a lot longer and keep the machine protected a little better in the meantime. Yeah, so otherwise, like I said, great thing to just go over your machine and, you know, it's, you know, you never know with these things, right? A lot of time, you know, they are having issues with quality control, or, you know, it's just done fast or whatever, you know, they don't check stuff after the fact, maybe. There's lots of different reasons why things could be loose. But, you know, you can also see actually under here, there's another couple things that I got to put in a couple zip ties. This, I'm not going to touch it, but because I don't want to get fluid film all over myself. But this was down in the hole there, and everything kind of moves around down there, so that wouldn't have been good. That would have broke that off. And there's other loose cables. Gonna have to throw a few zip ties in just to, you know, stick everything back together. But well, or stick it together, not back together because it was never together in the first place. But other than that, all in all, I'm pretty impressed with the little thing, I must say. I just coated everything in fluid film though. I noticed like there's rust up here. I think they had missed when they painted it. I just covered everything, you know. That way it's much less likely to rust. And it'll keep it looking good for a while, which is, you know, always a good thing too. Anyways, I just thought I'd share this with you. If you ever buy one of these or are contemplating buying one of these, this should be your first step, in my opinion, especially if you live in a bad climate. You definitely want to get some kind of undercoating, some kind of treatment in there, because next thing you know, rust will get in there, and once it starts, it won't take long, because these things are just flash painted. They're not like regular heavy equipment that's, you know, powder coated and has, you know, really, you know, quality paint. I have noticed that this seems okay. The boom, that seems to have really good paint, but that's, well, I don't see that scratched anywhere. But like this cylinder has a big scratch, and even the control here from the key and the wind rubbing right there has scraped the paint away. So, and down here with the foot rubbing, I guess. So just little things like that actually, you know, don't take long for it to kill the paint. So I'm just putting as much gunk to it as I can to, you know, keep it going as long as I can and keep it in good shape and looking good and running good. You know, the more you can do, the more maintenance you can do to, you know, prevent it. All this stuff is obviously for the best. Anyways, talk to you next time.